I'd like to give you some insight into how these men were selected for this very elite, selected into this very elite group. The workers' compensation section goes through a thorough process when selecting our Hall of Fame inductees to ensure that only those are added that are truly exceptional. The council has adopted a detailed criteria to identify the kind of individuals with the scholar, experience, and leadership skills in the workers' compensation field worthy of this honor. As chairperson, I emailed this set of criteria to all 642 section members and requested nominations. In March, a Hall of Fame nomination committee consisting of myself as the chairperson, Ella Parker as the vice chair, and Bill Housefield and Chuck Palmer as the past two chairpersons met and poured over a number of highly qualified nominations with close attention being paid to the criteria. After much deliberation, the committee unanimously agreed that Daryle Salisbury and Terry Grozier were at the top of the list. Our recommendations for Daryle and Terry were then passed along to the council as a whole, and the council was in agreement that these gentlemen were strong candidates and worthy of induction into the Workers' Compensation Hall of Fame. Daryle Salisbury was nominated jointly by Magistrate John Daryle, Ken Burchard, Magistrate Jane Colombo, and Lawrence Marison. Now, I would ask Ken Burchard, along with Jane Colombo, to come forward and say a few words about Daryle.
I just would like to remind people that sometimes we don't know everybody from each side of the state. Daryle practiced mostly, I think, on the east side, and sometimes you just don't know people just by virtue of where their territory was. But obviously, he practiced a long time ago, and I guess I've been around a long time. I remember him, but he was academic. He wrote the great article about frangies. You know, remember 418.827. There's a lien, and if there's a lien and there's a comp case, comp can maybe get back some of the money. But also, my favorite Daryle story was a personal one where you think about Comp Bureau and how we're so much of a family, and there's formalities and then there's somewhat informalities, and sometimes the two mix. And many years ago, in front of Magistrate Barney, may he rest in peace, Magistrate Barney, who you may or may not recall, thought of himself somewhat as an intellectual, a poet, an artist, an academic, and Daryle came to him and me to do a redemption, our settlement on the record. And Daryle said, you know, I thought I'd like to do something different. And he said, what I'd like to do is I'd like to do the redemption as a poem or in a poetic fashion. And he said to me, are you willing to do that? I said, well, let me take a look at what you plan to do. And he wrote it all out, and he gave me the little doggerel or poem, whatever one would call it, and it covered all the points in a redemption, which we all know you have to do before you can put it on, while you're putting it on the record. And I looked at it, and it covered everything, and I said, I'm okay with that. And Judge Barney, in his inimitable fashion, he looked at this, and this guy thought of himself as a poet, serious manner. He kind of rolled his eyes, and he went, so you're okay with this? I say, I'm okay with it. So he went ahead and we did it. And it was very funny, and it was cute, and that's the nice thing about comp. There's serious stuff, and there's a little bit of whimsy, but we all get together, and we work things out, and we try to work things out, and that was my fond memory of having a case and working it out with Daryle. And so I'm really glad to be able to be here today to sure there's an academic aspect and the serious aspects, but also the whimsy that sometimes comes along. And we all know comp is very serious and people's lives are there, but sometimes you have to take a moment, step back, and enjoy the moment and enjoy life a little bit. And I think that was part of what Daryle did and does. And now he's retired and he's eligible. And so congratulations, Daryle. Lots of luck.
Good evening. My excuse me, my reminiscence is a little bit more personal, and I want to say one thing, and that is I really wish that Magistrate Daryle was here because he wrote a very eloquent letter, hitting the high points as far as I was concerned in terms of pointing out the propriety and the cooperation and the gentlemanly conduct. Certain words that really Magistrate Daryle uses a lot more than some other people in this room, but he really captured the essence of not only the practice, but of the people who were practicing, especially Daryle's career covers a long period of time, and until fairly recently, there was, I wouldn't say a huge chunk, but certainly a definite chunk of your practice that was workers' comp. Because when I was doing trial work, I would see him on a somewhat regular basis, and I knew him from personal relationships or connections, so I always happy to see someone that I knew who I didn't have to fight with, because I never had any cases with him, so it was always a very friendly, you know, how's Cheryl, how are the kids, you know, how's everything going, so on and so forth. But one thing I recall, and I will give an apology right now because some of you may not be old enough. One of the things that stuck in my mind was in the early 80s. In fact, we had this discussion after your nomination, so we confirmed it. The 1984 Tigers, I'm sure many of you are very familiar with that time frame. And one of the new Tigers in the 1984 season was a guy named Daryle Evans. And I would go up to Daryle Salisbury and I said, how many people think you're Daryle Evans? Because there's a striking resemblance, and since you both share the same first name, they've already got your attention before you have a chance to say, no, that's not me. And he said, well, actually a few people have. And I said, well, he said, especially when I'm wearing my tiger hat. So I figured, okay, well, that's sort of, you know, doesn't really count, but he, to a T, uniformly, Daryle was always prepared. He was always a gentleman. He always was friendly, cooperative, all the things that you want counsel to be, even if they are not in opposing you, but just in terms of getting along, moving the cases, not taking up undue amount of time in front of the magistrate by, you know, insisting on trying a case, for example. And as Ken Burchard mentioned, a lot of people still have a copy of that bar journal from, what year was it, 1974?
84.
84. Oh, that's right. The case wasn't decided until after 74, but certainly ancient history by today's standards, especially when you think of the computer programs basically do the same work. And I believe you told me, Mr. Salisbury, that when they were creating the program, they contacted you and had you work out some of the kinks in the program. So we have like a human computer here on top of everything else. So I am very happy that my friend Daryle is being nominated and is being inducted. So I wanted to give you a little balance to the sometimes, I wouldn't say tedious, but certainly self-important role that some attorneys give themselves. And you know, when you see the same people day in and day out, you kind of get past that stage, but when you see people only once a year or so, then you don't. So I can tell you Daryle is truly deserving on all bases, you know, knowledge of the law, personality, preparation, all of that stuff. So welcome and congratulations.
Daryle, please step forward and accept this plaque for your accomplishment and your induction into the Workers' Compensation Hall of Fame.
I know that one thing I wanted to say is what Ken touched upon, which is that we are family. And I certainly appreciated that fact when I was back. I've been doing it for 46 years, stopped a couple of years ago. But during that 46 years, I've had the opportunity to be in different fields, negligence law, criminal law, probate law, whatever it might be. But in comp, the attorneys that practice in comp, and you know it, you are the best with regard to doing what the law wants us to do, which is to be advocates for our clients, be adversaries in the court, but at the same time be able to sit down after and be friends and talk. And it's not just the attorneys, it's with the magistrates and the judges. You have open conversations with them, which is not what happens in negligence law, not what happens in the other areas that I'm familiar with. So to me, being able to get this honor is just wonderful. And for it to be at this stage of a career, I think is a wonderful thing to do, because I can't imagine getting this award and then going and practicing, because you'd be ribbed all the time. So being able to have that done. But for me, having so many friends and family here today has also just been wonderful. And some of those friends, two of my friends, you remember law school? You go to law school? Well, 49 years ago, both Gary Ciampa and Howard Goldberg were right here. It was our study group, and for 3 years we learned the law. We understood, helped each other. People would come and go, but it was always the three of us. After law school, Gary and I, a few years after law school, and Tom Franco formed a law partnership. For 4 years we had a law partnership, dissolved that partnership on a good basis, but have remained fast friends ever since. Jerry Steinman is here. Jerry and Ann and Archie and Esther and Lisa and Bruce and Howard and Meredith. All these wonderful friends are here today. I really appreciate it. Got family. You have sister and brother-in-law who are here. Who've been with me forever, right? Elaine. Got Daniel over here, taking pictures. Kira, our daughter, Kira Gullidge, and Jennifer Richards, and our grandchildren, Dagny Gullidge and Odin Gullidge, are sitting here. And to be able to be a grandfather and have your grandchildren see you get an award, is great. And my wife, Cheryl, 47 years, but she's really partially and maybe majorly responsible for that franchise effort. Because just like, wives, what they do, husbands, it's like, well, you're complaining about it, fix it, do something about it. And I was complaining about franchise and trying to settle matters and figure out what to do. And she said, well, do something about it. And so I did. And the article was actually written and done in '82, but it took a couple of years before it got published. But she did that, and that worked out well. But being, the husband and wife and those things, there was this time when the appliance repairman came, and the appliance repairman was, how much did it cost to, Cheryl asked, how much does it cost to repair that dryer? And the repairman said $150. He said, but it would have been $75 if your husband hadn't tried to fix it. So sometimes it works out. Sometimes it doesn't. But the other thing that I would like, I mentioned granddaughter, Dagny Gullidge, and I would like Dagny to come up. This is Dagny, and these are gentlemen here.
Hi.
Yeah. The reason I want Dagny up here today is because she goes to Novi School. We're in Novi. She goes to Novi schools. And in Novi schools, there are 5 different elementary schools. And those schools have basically 4 to 5 grades in each school. But at 4th grade level, they then transfer into all the students in the whole system are now in 1 grade. So 5th graders and come together. Well, when you're in school, Novi Woods, where Dagny was, they have a tradition that when you are leaving the 4th grade, they have a process called a clap out. They take and from the time they're kindergartners, 1st graders, 2nd graders, 3rd graders, they're the ones that are seeing these 4th grade students leave the school. And so the clap out is they gather in the gym and the hallways and whatever, and then the 4th graders leave and they all get clapped out of school for 5th grade. Dagny is missing that. But being here today.
All right.
So what? But Dagny, there's one other thing I wanted to point out, is that this Frangies case that has been it deals with math. It deals with addition and subtraction and multiplication and division. Can you stand here and tell us about what you think of math? You said you can. Come on, you can do it. All right. All right. Sure. All right. Well, thank you for clapping your hands.
Yep.
Okay.
So Puba, we made this parody of Hall of Fame for you because of your induction to the Lawyers Hall of Fame. We are so proud of you for working the hardest you can, and we call this Puba Be the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, you could be the greatest, you could be the best. You could make the judge ring the gavel on the desk. You could help the world, you could make a difference. You could be smart with the Juris Doctor. You can submit a brief, you can deal with grief. You can change chaos, you can bring order. You can bring a master, don't wait for luck. Dedicate yourself and you can find yourself standing in the Hall of Fame. And Michigan don't know your name. Cause you work with the highest aim.
You'll be up.
Cause Michigan don't know your name. And you'll be on the walls of the Hall of Fame. You can score the distance, you can speak in style. You can defend in court with a smile. With a suit, you can be so cute. Helping all the people that thought never could be heard. Yeah, do it for your people, do it for your pride. Don't you know when you never even try. Do it for your country, do it for your name. Cause there'll be a day when you're standing in the Hall of Fame. And Michigan don't know your name. Cause you work with the highest aim. And Michigan don't Oh yeah, the dance moves.
This is the bridge.
Be students, be teachers, be politicians, be workers. Be believers, be leaders, be attorneys, be champions, be truth seekers. Be students, be teachers, be politicians, be workers. Be believers, be leaders, be attorneys, be champions. Stand in the Hall of Fame. And Michigan doesn't know your name. Cause you work with the highest aim. And Michigan doesn't know your name. And you'll be on the walls of the Hall of Fame.
And I just want to get your attention for a little bit to kind of pick up where we left off last night during the ceremony.
Where's that?
That was that was at the Boyne Mountain Resort. Where
Now I mean, where did we leave off?
we left off with, I had my darling,
Oh, she was her mathematics.
I had my darling granddaughter there.
I remember.
And she was getting ready to leave, and I said, "Oh, dang it, wait, just a moment. This Frangi's case that people have been talking about, it dealt with a lot of math. It dealt with addition, and subtraction, and multiplication, and division. There's lots of math. Can you tell everyone here what you think about math?"
Math, oh math, how annoying you are. Just like the sound from my brother's guitar. When the teacher says math time, in my head I throw fits. Math, oh math, I hate you so bit. Math, oh math, you really stink. Too bad I can't throw you away. Writing down multiplication facts. 1 times 4, 2 times 4, 3 times 4. Oh my gosh, it's just such a bore. Math, oh math, you're last on my list. I really can't see why you exist.
Come on. Oh,
Math, oh math, how annoying you are. Just like the sound.
you're right. They tie it all up. Right.
We also prepared something for you, Kuba,
Oh,
that,
Can we swap sides or do we have to have people move?
because we,
So we did practice it where all of you need to face this way. Can we do that?
face which way?
Okay.
That's better for
All right, Odin.
What?
Does this